I will answer your question like this.
Okay.
I would do the same thing if I could. I like to eat, so I can't buy as many guns. And ammo is expensive.
But what do you need 33 weapons for?
I don't need 33 weapons, and I don't have 33 weapons, so it's not an issue. But, I mean, if I had the ability...
But you're saying if you could, you would.
Why does Jay Leno need 100 cars or more? Why does any American need to have a 6-bedroom home when they've got 2 people in their family? Why does any American need to have a half an acre for a lot, for a home, when you've got people in other countries who don't have that? We can go on and on and on and on forever. The bottom line is this is America, and we have the ability to do it.
So you're saying because you can, you should?
No, I'm not even saying because you can, you should. I'm just saying that because you can doesn't mean somebody should tell you you shouldn't, as long as this is still America. We came here to live the dream, so stop trying to kill my dreams, as it were. Maybe not the best choice of words.
And Kelly chimes in.
Yeah, really, it was not the best choice of words.
The psych evaluation would be useless. If someone wants to do such a thing, they can get someone else to get the guns for them, or just act sane to pass the test.
And again, that comes right back to it's a criminal act. It does have to do with mental health, but a person can be perfectly mentally healthy when they get the weapons. But here's the other problem I have just with the whole background.
Before you go into that, I just want to say one thing to Kelly. I don't think that an insane person could act sane for the purposes of passing a test.
That's a little spurious.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead now.
But I mean, you can take let's just take any kind of testing first off. Let's take the DMV test. How many people have licenses and have passed those tests that can't drive worth crap?
And I've also said a million times it's too easy to get a license in this state.
And you don't think they'll do the same thing? I mean, this is my problem. You are saying, number one, we don't trust ourselves, so we need somebody else to govern this aspect of our lives. You're asking for more government involvement.
Government is in general.
Yes,
we don't trust ourselves.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I think a lot of people, they want to try to push the responsibility of their own personal responsibilities or responsibilities of their neighbors. They don't want to hold their neighbors accountable because they don't themselves want to be held accountable. So they push it off to the government and say, hey, you should tell this guy not to do this. And they're cool with it as long as you don't tell me not to do it. And that's kind of this whole situation with gun control. They don't want to come to me and say, hey, I don't think you should have a firearm for X, Y, Z. They're going to go tell the government to tell me I can't have a firearm. And worse, when you're dealing with a country like America that basically goes from on the farthest west, the tip of Alaska, which is in Russia's backyard, all the way over to the farthest east, which I guess would be Puerto Rico.
Okay.
That's a huge span of space. That is how many different cultures and how many different subcultures and how many different there's so many different ways of life in there. This is not Holland where you have a bunch of people in this, semi-rural European country. This is a totally different creature.
Well,
and you have like 2 or 3 cities that are dictating the politics of the entire nation. Let's say states.
I want to bring up another interesting point here. Every time that something like this happens, it doesn't take long, and in fact, it took Hillary Clinton less than 12 hours to jump on the gun control bandwagon all over again. And we won't even get into how she more or less inserted her foot in her mouth by speculating on how bad this could have been had he gotten a silencer that apparently the NRA would like to make legal.
And should be.
And I don't know why you would sit there and say that. I mean, forgive the pun, but the gun smoke wasn't even out of the air yet, and she's already postulating on how much worse it could have been. But that having been said, anytime something like this happens, we immediately hear the people come out and start talking about gun control and how this wouldn't have happened if we had stricter gun control laws, if we managed to disarm the honest American citizen.
And that is a bold-faced lie.
But see, here's the other thing. How come nobody ever addresses all of the violence that's on TV, the violence that's in movies, the violence that's in video games, when we have psychological study after study that shows that when people are exposed to this over and over again, especially when it starts in their youth and continues on through their adult lives, that they become desensitized to this stuff. And they actually are more likely to go out and do this kind of thing because they just don't see it as being as horrific as any rational person should.
Why did you motion towards me when you said that?
I did not. I never even looked at you.
He very clearly did a motion towards me. He said, when people play violent video games when they're younger,
I think Todd's getting
this
paranoid.
guy.
Yeah, we need to have him a psych eval.
Yeah, right. Seriously, we need to make sure he doesn't have any weapons.
Who's that 5150?
Yeah, I think I pretty much stated my position. My position is basically
why is that never addressed?
I don't think that that's really as big of an issue.
You don't
I really don't.
You don't think that has anything to do with it?
I'm not going to say it has nothing to do with it, but I think that that's not the main issue. It is not the main issue. There are plenty of people who do watch all that stuff and play all those games who lead perfectly normal lives.
What I'm saying is that there's more than one factor at play here, and
Yes.
we're fixated
grasping
on
at
one
straws is what we're
specific
doing.
quick fix.
They're grasping at straws because no one wants to have the real conversations about what drives a person to do this type of thing. And in this specific case, we have no idea what drove this man to do this thing.
Yeah, that's the tragedy is that that's another tragedy, I should say, that we may never know
No,
exactly what caused this guy to go over.
I don't think we'll ever know, but I think there will be a story that is told because no one likes loose ends. So they're going to wrap it up with a tidy little bow.
That's the
somewhere or the
conspiracy
other.
theorist coming out here now.
Well, it's just the way people work. No one's going to want to leave this one undone. They're going to want to do something for politicians, if for no other reason, because then they can stand on that soapbox and say, I did this.
Okay. Todd, you have said virtually nothing on the gun control issue. I would really like to know what your opinion is on this.
Yeah, especially with this Vegas tragedy, there have been so many things to unbox with the whole thing. I mean, it's just so early in the process that we don't know so much about why this guy did what he did, why his crazy girlfriend was at an airport or at the venue or somewhere yelling, "Oh, you're all gonna die."
Oh no, that wasn't his girlfriend. That
Or
was some.
whoever
Well,
that is.
we don't know that she was related, but yeah, there apparently was that report of some woman out there yelling that you're all gonna die. So
Yeah.
it does leave you to wonder how that plays into
There's
this.
so many conspiracy theories about multiple shooters, about how could this guy actually, given his advanced age, how could he accomplish all this stuff? How could he shoot from the MGM Grand?
Yeah,
he
was-
was at the Mandalay Bay.
Mandalay Bay, yes.
All the way
Mandalay
across
Bay,
behind
all
the
the way
MGM.
across the way and
At the
into
MGM,
this
the parking lot of the
event
MGM
parking
Grand.
lot. Yeah, there's so many things. And I mean, it's going to become a freaking JFK type thing. There's magic bullets all over the place. But yeah, just when it generally comes to gun control, I feel like there is definitely something that should be done. There is
The only thing
almost
left
no
to do-
reason. I'm talking. There's almost
I like the thing.
no reason for a person to have a gun that can spit out that many bullets a second.
Why not?
Styles getting too rough.
What do you
for
need
me.
it for?
I mean, I know what I would need it for.
What?
I need it for what the Second Amendment says you should have it for, to protect yourself from the tyranny of the government. They've got tanks. I can't have something that
Do
shoots
you
more than 5
really
rounds.
think you're going to stand up to the government if they want to
No.
take you down?
No, history has shown that we can't. I mean, all we have to do is go back and look at David
He
Koresh's
watched all those
situation.
Will Smith movies. He really actually does believe that,
I think
No,
he's gonna
I'm-
be the one
I'm
guy.
not so foolish to
him
believe
and Gene
that.
Hackman, and he's actually lined his room with tinfoil.
No, I'm not far from it, though. But here's the thing.
I've seen the helmet.
How
CJ.
much of my freedom do I have to give up before it's too much? That's all I'm saying. How much more do I have to give up?
How much is too much?
And it's not even that I have to give it up. It's just, what am I getting in return? Because you're telling me the story is I'm getting security in exchange for self-protection. I can't protect myself, but you'll do it for me. And that simply isn't true.
But weren't you just talking about how the problem is that nobody trusts anybody else now? And now you're sitting there going, I don't
Exactly.
trust anybody, so I need my gun.
Yeah, I don't trust people, so I'm going to give up being able to be secure myself to people who don't care about me. Because as far as the government's concerned, I'm a 9-digit number. That's all I am.
Yeah, well, you're just a 9-digit number to a lot of people, thanks to
Well,
that
exactly.
that big
So
scandal where
why-
they hacked into one of the credit bureaus, and now we're
Equifax.
yeah,
having
exactly,
got hacked.
yeah. So we're all
And I don't want to get too far off because I don't wholeheartedly, I don't like riding this bandwagon. But when you take like the whole Black Lives Matter thing, there are certain specific historical and cultural contexts with how people are treated in this country by a government, no matter which direction the pendulum swings. Because everybody's all feeling like, oh, racism is bad and all this crap today. But what about tomorrow? What about the next day? What about the next day? It swings back and forth. And all I'm saying is I don't want to have to gauge my security and my life by whichever direction the political winds blow. I want to be able to just live in my home, raise my kids, teach them right from wrong. And I think that I should have the ability to do that. Because quite frankly, even if we go beyond the gun control issue to something that's you think would be common sense, like having the right to raise your own children. the government literally claims ownership of your children. That's a problem. So when do I get to say no?
Oh, you don't anymore, especially not when
That's
it comes
a
to paying your
problem for me.
taxes.